This session is called From Storefront to Inbox, Maximizing Retention with Connected Experiences. And this is going to be set up a little differently than maybe some of the other sessions that you've attended. So we've got 2 lightning rounds. First, we're going to hear from David Weissman, EVP Growth at Tulip, and he's going to be discussing clienteling, proactive one-to-one outreach that doubles customer share of wallet. And then we'll hear from Elynn Chen, Director of Business Development from Temu, and she'll be discussing how to shop like a billionaire. And as they said, Linda Shine, that is S-H-E-I-N, but no relation. All right, let's give them a big welcome.
Thanks for having me. How's the mic? Good. Raise your hand if you are a retailer or have worked at a retailer. Good. Raise your hand if you also have stores. Okay, a bunch of you have stores. Raise your hand if then you know what clienteling is. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. Okay, great. Well, I'm here to tell you about how clienteling can activate your best customers into bester customers, if that's a word. Let's get going here. So I have a hypothesis, and I've validated it with lots of CEOs and C-levels and VPs. I think we've forgotten about the number one thing we learned when we graduated school and got into business is the 80-20 rule. Is if you treat your best customers better, you can actually get a higher share of wallet. And I've been in e-commerce and digital for 25 years. I'm guilty of this as well. I think we focus on the entire demand curve, and we focus a little bit too much on that one-time purchaser and how do we get them in. But that one-time purchaser doesn't love you yet. They've transacted. They have no relationship with you. But the longer tail, the folks that have bought 2, 3, 4, 5 times, they already like you, they love you. And so what I've asked a lot of C-level people, and I'll ask you out there, what are you doing differently for them? What kind of experience are you giving them that's different? Sure, you're personalizing emails, meh. You're maybe showing them different products on their homepage, but we're really not doing enough for our best customers, and we're all leaving money on the table. And that's what clienteling can really activate. Little hope. There we go. So what clienteling is the ability to develop real one-to-one relationships between your sales associates and their customers, their best customers, through proactive engagement. It's like having a guy. Hey, I got a guy at that store, or I got a gal at that store who helps me. And with those sales associates, if you arm them with a book of business and an app like Tulip's, they can do proactive outreach, reach out for birthdays. They can reach out 2 and 2, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. How you're liking your purchase, special drops, in-store events. And it's amazing how well it works, especially in this day and age where we're getting spammed by bots and other company-to-consumer marketing. It's really nice to have a real person reach out and feel like you have someone on the inside. That's what Tulip does. There's other platforms out there as well. And really the big part of clienteling, what people mistake is they think it's that in-store experience where I can look you up and see your profile, see all your preferences. That's all well and good, but not many customers want to stand around and wait for you to look them up on their machine to see their preferences. I'm right here. I'll tell you what my preferences are. But if you build that relationship when they're not in the store by proactively outreaching to them, you'll see amazing ways to drive revenue. So there's 2 types of clienteling. The one is in-store. This is what we're used to. It started in luxury. Remember the black books at the mostly beauty and fashion stores, and the salespeople would call up their best customers. Now it's been digitized, so it can be email, text, it can be phone calls, WhatsApp. This is what we know. What's amazing is stores are cool again. You need stores for growth. They weren't cool for a while, they're cool again. And you've got the labor model with idle time. Give them a book of business and watch them drive real revenue. And so it's a lot of outreach, a lot of engagement, personalized, two-way conversations. What most people don't know is e-commerce clienteling. Amazing that we don't know it, because there are brands out there that do over 50% of their e-commerce sales through e-commerce clienteling. Okay, what is e-commerce clienteling? Same idea, same concept, proactive outreach, relationship building. It's just that it's a different labor model in that you have to hire full-time salespeople, work from home, who do the same messaging. It's amazing how well it works. It's amazing how few people do this. And the unit economics can be great. The biggest thing about clienteling, these customers like and love you already. So you might think, oh, I don't need to spend money on them. That's a fool's errand. You should spend money, you should lean in, because you can go easily grab 2x share of wallet. I like to say I was at a conference a couple weeks ago called Future Stores, and the big conclusion is retention is your new acquisition. Think about it, right? Spend the money and the energy to reactivate them. It's easier than acquisition marketing. Hello? Okay, so what categories does this work in? We usually think of apparel, luxury, but it works in all categories. We're engaged with a very big home retailer right now. They have 2.7 million best customers driving hundreds of millions of revenue. And when they came to the conclusion, hey, you know what? We never talked to them. Shame on us. And so you do some math at 1, 3, 5, 10% of growth, and the numbers can be enormous, and it's a lot easier than giving Meta all your money. So it can work in sporting goods, it can work in home, jewelry, footwear. Really, it's anything with a consideration. There's like a waterline of consideration, right? Like if it's too low of a considered purchase, maybe it doesn't work. But anything above that, it can work swimmingly well. And we see amazing results with all of our clients at Tulip. So what are these types of outreaches you can do? The world is your oyster, but the easy ones are post-purchase, follow-up, birthdays, seasonal, drops. If you have a store and you do events, your events will blow up. You can build in an appointment scheduling app to be able to do appointments that drive very high conversions. So it's pretty easy to figure it out. And you can leverage your CRM, your corporate CDP or ESP, to drive these campaigns. So there's a whole technology element. Even though it's humans embedded by technology that really make this thing fly. It's a revenue. If you've never seen one, you can grow your revenues, take pictures, bring it to your CFO. So what do you need to do successful clienteling? One is you got to build the culture, right? It takes the culture, the C-suite to really get behind it, to want to do it. It's not a plug-in and magically it happens, but it's not that hard, but you got to bring the company along with you. Your marketing team will love it. Your store team will love it. They're taking advantage of idle time, and they'll drive more revenues. You got to really lean into the humanity of your sales associates. The reason you hire them is because they have high EQ. They're good at selling. Give them a tool like Tulip to empower it that drives campaigns and follow-ups and makes it super easy for them to do what they do well, is that two-way interaction. And then obviously there's some that will build this out there. I think that's a little foolish. I think you should get a platform that makes it very easy for them to do their jobs. They are already pre-programmed to do selling well, to do clienteling well. If you give them a tool that makes it easy, obviously, with low TCO, so it's financially viable, you can make a business really, really fly. So think about it. If you're not doing clienteling today, you should. If you are doing it, are you doing it well? And think about e-commerce clienteling. It's the biggest secret that isn't being talked about out there. But I can tell you, I know at least a dozen brands. Some are clients of mine, some are not, that are doing 30% of their e-commerce business through this. So thank you for listening to me today.
And again, now we're going to hear from Elynn Chen, Director of Business Development at Temu, and she's going to be talking about how to shop like a billionaire.
Hey everyone. Whoa, okay. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. This is a great opportunity. So today's topic is about Temu. Hopefully by now, you have heard the tagline, shop like a billionaire, already. So I would love to see around the raised hands who have heard of that and know of Temu as a platform. Okay, great. So I would love to take this opportunity to share with you some interesting data and facts that may be really interesting to you as well as surprising to you about our platform, our journey and audience and their behavior. Okay. Oops. So I guess David did mess it up a little bit. Okay. How do I? Okay, need some tech support here.
I'm the AV guy.
Thank you so much. Okay. So to share a little bit about our journey, please, next slide. Thank you. Oops. So Temu entered the US in September 2022. And fast forward in 2023, you've seen the Super Bowl as Shop Like a Billionaire. That tagline has entered into the US audience hearts and ears really deeply. And fast forward in 2024, we have launched in 51 countries, as well as our local seller program. So as of today, we have well above over 100 million users here in the US and achieved 86% of US market awareness. So you may ask, who are they? Who are the audience? So, okay. So when Emily asked me to speak at this event, she really wanted me to do the Gen Z panel. And I said, well, that's kind of not working because based on the data, we're actually a platform super popular for millennials and Gen X. As you can see on the pie chart over here, our audience is actually really well balanced across different age group and demographics. And one of our most loyal segment is actually people who are 59 years and above. They spend twice as much of time as well as money on Temu as a platform. Okay, cool, thank you. So in the US, we are very much a female-oriented marketplace. About 62% of our audience are female versus 38% male. Who are they? They are the household decision makers. They constantly shop for their entire family. They're a little bit less sensitive for the shipping time, of course, because we know women plan. And at the same time, they're the value seekers, looking for the best deal for their entire family, but not necessarily the cheapest items. One of the really interesting data points that's surprising to me and opens up my mind when I first joined this company is 44% of sales in the US actually came from the high-income earner families who make over $130,000 and more. And that is a very large share, as well as growing as of today. Okay, so next one. So the user behavior, our users have increasing rate of engagement, as well as spend more money on our platform. We have the most engagement for people 27 years and above, the folks who actually are at their prime spending years. Average order value in the US achieved $50 by the end of 2024. And on average, folks spend about 18 minutes per day on Temu versus 8 to 11 minutes per day on other major marketplaces. And I think you know who they are. Repeat purchase-wise, 45% of customers actually came back within 6 months and do the repeat purchase. How do we do that? We incentivize the user with our gamification features and keep them engaged on the platform, make their shopping journey fun. So that is the reason why on Temu, you would actually see a little bit more browsing activity compared with other search-based actual e-commerce platform. So that's about our user and their behavior. I would love to leave a tagline for everyone at the end of this conversation, which is the next slide. It's a personal takeaway from me. You would never want to assume who your audience are, always involve with them, and stay curious and find ways to serve their needs. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for having me today.
Okay, why don't you two come on back up and have a seat so we can entertain some questions? All All right, you guys, give it some thought. Any questions for Temu or Tulip?
Who's taking pictures? I saw you. Ask a question.
Who shops on Temu? Come on, admit it. Anyone have a question about Temu? I mean, if you've shopped there, you must have something to ask, no? All right, here we go.
Yeah. Tulip's specialty is to integrate with your other platforms if you want, right? So you might have a CDP or a CRM that either drives campaigns or can do segmentation. We want you to leverage that so that you can do some of that centralized, and actually those campaigns will flow into the app of the sales associate, segmented, all ready to go for that salesperson to take it over the finish line. So you can integrate it. You should. We also have some of those same capabilities within the platform, but we don't want you to be forced to only use our programming for campaigning and follow-ups. We want you to be able to use your CDXP. So we've integrated with probably literally over 90 different platforms, because all of you guys have different stacks. From your single source of truth of your customers, POS, CDXP, we generally integrate with all of them.
More? Right in front of you.
Does that also apply to loyalty programs? Do you integrate with those?
Yeah, the question was, do we integrate with loyalty programs? Absolutely. So if you've got a loyalty program that's generating tiering and other useful information that the sales associates would want and need to know, absolutely we'll integrate with that. That's valuable. We want to empower the sales associate to have all the data on their customers at their disposal. We also have an AI feature with a click of the button. It'll summarize the customer's preferences, past purchase history, loyalty status, so that as a sales associate, I don't have to research and put all that together. I can get it on a snapshot. So yeah, if you have a loyalty program, we'd love for that to be part of the data that flows into the Tulip app.
Oh, another question right in front of you.
Yeah, my question is just around like how do you scale, especially with e-commerce teams that might be a little bit smaller, aren't used to that one-to-one connection, and don't really have teams that can commit to replying back to, to customers. How do you recommend teams like scale up to have that bandwidth?
Yeah, you're definitely, if you lean into clienteling, the culture piece, you're definitely going to want to hire someone full-time. Trying to put this into your customer service group when they have a day job is not doing it as well as you can. So you're going to want to. You can start with 1 or 2 salespeople, right? An e-commerce clienteler can handle a book of up to 5,000 to 10,000 customers, right? Using a mix of human-led activities with some programmatic. You could even go as far as have some of the messages be programmatic, but that's a philosophical issue for your brand. So with one clienteler doing 10,000 customers, and we generally model it out for our brands, you can start to see how profitable it can be with the high conversion rates. And then you can, it's like opening a new store. You can add another salesperson and another salesperson, and you can kind of crawl, walk, run your way into it. But the key thing is having that buy-in internally, culturally, on day one, because the biggest reason for failure is that, not the technology. It's trying to do it without really empowering the sales agents, without having the culture internally to lean into this. That's how you're going to fail. Another hand?
Do we see another hand? No? Last call. Up, there we go.
Hi, I have a question regarding Temu, And you mentioned that you have 45% of customers coming back within 6 months. Can you share what you do to get repeat customers coming back?
Hello? Okay. This works this time. Yeah, we actually have quite a few gamification features actually to keep attracting people, continue to engage on the platform. At the same time, we continue to launch in the US various different coupons and opportunities to shop across the entire shop or different brands. So this is all listed in our seller center, and we'll be able to kind of generate people for repeat purchase. Yeah. We realize that mostly through product features.
All right, well, let's give a big thanks to David and Elynn from Temu and Tulip.